step number 2 of this exercise is, as a result of these moments before 13, what are 3 false beliefs that you now believe as a result of these moments? Those 3 false beliefs that you've created in your mind as a result of these 3 moments, right? And it's funny because I had no idea what I was gonna write. I was blank. I was just sitting there, and before I knew it, I wrote down, I was abandoned, I am annoying, and I'm not good enough. And it's crazy because I sat here and I stared at these things and I'm like, do I really believe these things? Like, I couldn't even believe I wrote them down, right? And I started to realize, as I started to peel back the onion, I started to think about my life, and I started to realize, like, oh my gosh, there are so many moments in my life where I sabotaged friendships and relationships. I could vividly remember in my teens and my late teens, you know, a bunch of girlfriends hanging out 4 or 5 days, and by the 6th day, I'd be like, you know what, guys, I'm busy. Because I feared if I got too close to people that I would soon become annoying, right? Because I'd carried these moments and I've created these beliefs in my mind that were true. Now, I was coming from a place of unawareness. I didn't know I was doing this. But I started to really look back and think of all of the relationships and all the friendships I sabotaged. These are your self-sabotaging behaviors. You don't even know you have these beliefs until you go through this exercise. And so that's from a personal perspective. I sabotaged a lot of relationships and friendships. But from a professional perspective, I could remember whether I was in school, whether I first got job opportunities, whether I was 5 years in a job. I could remember oftentimes being I would have so many questions. I would have so many ideas. I'd be at an event and be like, oh, wow, I love what he's saying. I want to contribute. But I wouldn't, because I feared if I contributed too much, if I asked too many questions, if I said too many things, I would be the annoying person that held up the meeting. I'd be the annoying girl that asked too many questions, right? And so you start to realize these mini moments where I was choosing to behave this way based on these beliefs, right, was sabotaging me from living out the best version of myself. Because what that was looking to on the other side of things was, well, Jen's not really engaged. She's not really asking a lot of questions. Does she really want to be here? She doesn't really care, right? How many moments did I sabotage for myself unknowingly, right? I did not know this. Unknowingly, because I was too afraid to ask questions or too afraid to contribute and look like I was really, you know, interested, because I feared I would be annoying, right? I'm not good enough. Guys, I can't tell you, and we hear this all the time from our members. We hear this all the time. I'm not ready yet. I can't do it. Nope, I have to practice more. How many times I would sit there and watch my peers supersede me by 5, 6, 7, 8 promotions, right? Because they didn't have this fear of not being good enough. They would put themselves out there. Even if they got no, they got some no's, but they got yeses. I had this fear that if I would put myself out there, regardless for what it was, if I got a no, I would affirm to myself deep down inside that I'm not good enough. So the whole part of this exercise, to understand what your false beliefs are based off those moments, is so that you can change your behavior and ultimately change the results. And so I'll give you an example of what that means. By discovering your false beliefs, you're not going to be healed. It's not going to be like, oh, yes, I got these false beliefs and now I'm done with them, right? These are things that really ingrained in your childhood before the age of 13. And so it's going to take some time before you can knock down these false beliefs and knock down these behaviors and these habits. And so my old version self, I'll give you an example. If I was, at work, or even now, I think I have a thought, man, I followed up with somebody last week. I have to follow up with them again this week, but I just followed up last week. That's annoying to follow up this week, right? So an example of that would be that thought. I would have the thought, I don't want to follow up. I don't want to be annoying. I just touched base with them last week. I didn't get a response. That I don't want to be annoying and follow up again this week, right? My old version self would be, yep, don't follow up because that's annoying, right? I would take this belief as truth. My new version self can have the thought, I don't want to follow up. I just followed up last week. I can't follow up again. That's annoying, right? And this is just a small example, guys. But the new version of myself will say, actually, that's a false belief. And I'm going to change my behavior. I'm going to follow up anyway. Even though I have the thought, even though I have that feeling, I'm going to follow up anyway. And guess what? I changed the result. Because my old version self, the result would be no answer, right? No response. The new version of myself is going to break down this false belief. And I'm going to change my behavior, and I change the result. You can see these mini micro moments of changing the behavior to change the result add up to big macro moments of big responses, of big deals, of big promotions, right? And so that's just one small example of changing this thought of I'm annoying. So powerful, guys, to really identify what these things are that you're participating in every single day that's limiting you from becoming the best version of yourself. So, so powerful. So really this part is just that level of awareness. And eventually you knock down that belief so many times, right? Like, I'm annoying, I don't want to do it, but you do it anyway, and you get a good result. You knock it down enough times, eventually you'll start knocking down that belief, right? Really, really powerful to get you to step into your power and live out the best version of yourself.